Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski here with Adam Atkinson. And Adam, we're in the middle of a series talking about the different types of peaking strategies and loads. We started with backloading and moved to front loading. Now I want to talk about the undulating load, which probably doesn't really exist anymore. It was kind of my segue into the progressive linear load. But like we talked about last time, if you have a front load, so you're avoiding all that depletion and all that craziness that you would do with a normal conventional peaking method, you really can risk tapering too far down and coming back up. That used to be my actual strategy, where I would taper back a little bit, make sure they're not spilling over, and then come back up mildly enough so that they are regaining that fullness. And even though I help clients win more than 400 pro cards that way and all of that stuff, I could still miss. You know, I used to tell people, if I can get you 95 to 100% of the way there, you know, we're still going to be amazing, but we still had timing issues. So what I've done recently is what you might have just started doing instinctively is I start with the mindset of it's going to be a progressive load. Wherever we start the carbs, which is a very mild front load, it doesn't have to be daily, but I want to be chasing that level of fullness all the way to the end of the week. So we may not hit it until Thursday or Friday, but it's going to be some kind of a straight linear line so that we have all of the variables, water intracellularly, sodium, potassium, carbs, glycogen synthesis, everything all moving in the same direction so we don't have those undulating swings. So explain your experience with that, whether you've actually defined it that way or you just instinctively do that.
Yeah, I've never really used an undulating peak because to me that kind of describes like creating a hammock and starting high, dipping low, and then, you know, nearly backloading in the end. But I always found that it didn't make a lot of sense because you can't get a lot of time to seat that glycogen into the muscle tissue deeply enough. And also, you kind of become blind in that hammock experiment, how full somebody can get. So it's really been something that I haven't used. And but I have heard of people doing undulating peaking. But when you drop like that, you kind of create a wave down, and then you have to control that wave on the upswing of things. And like you said, if you can kind of stay 95% of the way there and then just fine tune it on the night before and show day, that's going to be your best way, making sure, you know, all the variables are in place. You can really play a lot of guessing with the undulating type peaking.
Yeah, and interestingly, I mean, I did that for about 15 years with great success because I was micromanaging that entire process, but it was always a lot of stress. It was always a lot of monitoring. And like I said, I could miss, you know, I could be 90 or 95%. And if I erred, it was always on the side of keeping people tight, so I might miss the fullness side. But as I gradually experimented with just more of a progressive load, I found it just took those variables away. It almost makes it foolproof.
Yeah, and what was probably made you successful is back then you never cut water, and that was revolutionary for anybody. So you were bringing a gun to a knife fight back then with that. So probably no matter what you did with that load, just the pure fact that you kept water and sodium into people's peak weeks, they guaranteed came out fuller and tighter than most of the competition you were going to back then.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. So you guys hang in there. So far, we wanted to cover all of the different types of peaking strategies. Now we're going to be breaking them down into those variable sets. So we're going to talk about carbs and water, like Adam just mentioned. We're going to talk about even protein and fat. We're going to talk about sodium and potassium. We're even going to talk about training and cardio. So some of those things that I like to consider as couplets or two sides of the same coin, you still got to have all those variables managed and moving in the same direction. So hang tight, guys, and stay with us for the next several episodes.